Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome back to another Minecraft episode on the AlphaCraft server. Right, I've done a load of work downstairs in the catacombs, in the Hall of Heroes, the Patron's Hall of Heroes catacombs down the bottom there. But before I show you that, I want to put in a hidden piston door because I've got to go off today and build an ice farm. I promised Smurfy a while ago that I'd build as an ice farm, which I'm going to build all the way over there on top of a mountain, which I'll show you in a second. But I don't just want to leave this open plan like this because it's a secret. And I don't want anybody to go down there and see it until I finished it and got all the patrons in and got it looking all pretty. Apart from you guys, obviously. I want you to see the progress I'm making on there. But the alphas on here, I don't want them to go down and see it. So I want to put on a piston door, a hidden piston door. Quite a simple one, actually. And then we'll run over and I'll start making the ice farm on top of the hill. So in order to make this this piston door, it is really simple, actually. As long as I've got enough room. Just need to make myself a little bit of space around here. Probably don't need that much, but I'll just make it anyway. Grab myself my sticky pistons. So we're going to have a couple. I'm going to need a little bit more room on this side, so I can still get in and out. So if we have more room. Just dig it out, Frills, for goodness sake. Right, so if we have a couple of sticky pistons there and there with blocks on them, they're going to have those blocks on the front. They're going to extend and they're going to fill up this hole here. Another couple of sticky pistons on there. They're going to extend, fill up this gap here. We want those to part when they receive power, or when they don't receive power. They'll be closed when they've got power going to them, but when they've got no power going to them, those pistons, these, will retract and then they'll get pulled off to the side. So we're going to need some sticky. Going to need a sticky piston there, and we're not going to need a sticky piston there at all, are we, Frills? Come on. Need a sticky piston there, and one there and there. So they'll be powered. Obviously they'll be sticking out. When they're unpowered, they'll pull these two blocks back that way, leaving a gap down the middle. And it's the same for this side. Can I do this again here? There and there. Going to need a little bit more space above. Hopefully we've got... Oh, we've only just got enough room, haven't we? Right under the floorboards. But only just enough room is still enough room. Lovely. Right, I'm going to need scaffolding now, which I know for a fact is in here. There it is. I'm going to stick the button out of the way. Now, normally I just have a wooden button. Normally a wooden button gives you a long enough pulse to get through. But if I have a wooden button sat there on the wall, you know, somebody's just going to come along and press it, aren't they? And it needs to be a little bit more discreet. And to make it a little bit more discreet, it's got to go out of the way. And it's got to be made out of stone. And a stone button, as most of you probably know, doesn't give you as much of a tick as a wooden one. So if I press that, it'll only stay on for a few ticks and then it'll close again, and I'll get trapped in between and I'll die, and nobody likes that. So I'm gonna have to put some kind of delay on this. Let's dig out this wall. It was nice of Smurfy to make all of this out of cobble, actually. A few torches in here just for the time being so I can see what I'm doing. Right, but I'll worry about that mechanism in a second. Firstly, I need some cobble over the top. Over the top. It's just so I can put the wiring up there, the redstone wiring. Grab myself a couple of repeaters and some redstone dust and some torches. So we're going to want dust on top of all of these blocks here. And then we're going to want we want dust over those, and then we want repeaters on these blocks with a delay. I want these blocks in the middle to fire first because they're going to be retracting first, and then a couple of ticks later the pistons on the edge. That was interesting. Can I not crouch when I'm on redstone? Crouch, walk to the edge. Oh, I can. Must have been stood on the repeater. Anyway, we want these pistons to fire first, pulling the blocks back, and then these pistons to fire just afterwards, pulling the blocks to one side. If they all fire together, those pistons are going to retract, and it's going to mess up the entire system. So we'll put that on. We'll put it on 4. I don't know what the exact setting is going to be yet. It's probably going to be 3 or 4, and we want the same on this side, like that. And then we need to hook up, and I'll hook it up to start with without putting in any kind of delay, without putting in any kind of system to extend the poles, just so we can see it working. It's all about checking. Check and test, check and test. We need a bit of power. I'm going to tidy this up in a second. Then we need that going over to there. So that's all powered. That runs into there. So that should now excellent. So that should now be closed. I got myself all confused because I forgot to put the wall in there, hadn't I? So there's the wall. It's all hidden. Look at that. Wouldn't even know it was there. Now if I press this button, it opens. But as I say, it's really quick. There's no way I'm going to be able to press that and get through there, without smashing my face in, and worse, probably dying. So we need to stick in some kind of delay in here. We can do that with the comparators. I always try and put my redstone on stone. I know I haven't done it up there, but I'm not likely to dig up through that. If we do it here and we start digging underneath, I'll know when I've hit redstone rather than just digging straight through it. So if we stick a couple of bits of dust there, and then some comparators there and there. Probably just going to have to move this slightly. It's always so much easier when you've got plenty of room to play about with. There's nothing worse when you're messing with redstone when you've got to fit it into a really tight area. Because as a general rule, when I'm building something out of redstone, I'll build it to start with so it's working. It doesn't matter how big it is. I mean, if I'm building a little piston door like this, I will set it up in a big area just so it's working. And then I can start reducing down the size of the redstone and tweaking it just to get it as small as I can get it and as efficient as I can get it. But initially, I like working in a really big area. Because if you try and cram redstone into a really small area to start with, there's a very good chance that things are going to overlap and it's just going to be a pain. It's just not going to be great. So we'll do that and then stick a bit of a redstone repeater there. To run some dust there into a redstone torch like that. Perfect. So now when I press the button, that system will cycle round and eventually turn off. Because of how comparators work, they put out, and I'll try and explain it, but it's going to be I might not do a very good job. They put out the same signal that they receive in through the back. So when I press this button, there's going to be a signal on that redstone dust there of 15. It's going to be a signal strength of 15 going into the back of that comparator. So coming out the front is 15, going into the back of that one, 15. Coming out of the front of that one, 15. Going into that dust, 15. When it reaches that dust, it goes down to 14. So into the back of there is 14, the back of there is 14, there is 14, then it goes over one more dust, and then that is 13. And then 13, 13, 13, down to 12, 12, 12, 12, down to 11. And it works down like that. And eventually, the power gets all the way down to nothing, and the system stops working, which is why there's such a delay on it. Like that. So now I've got a torch in there. Let me stick one more torch in there just to give myself a little bit more light. There's nothing worse than flashing redstone. It doesn't really flash, so it won't cause any lag, but it's not great. And then we want to put some blocks there, there, and there. There, 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 there. There and there. Actually, I need to put myself a button to get out in a second, don't I? So we'll worry about that. Do that in a minute through that wall there. But that gives me plenty of time to get through before it closes behind me. And nobody would know it was there. Superb. So now I need to stick a button. I can't put a button there because if I put a button on that block there, it will power this piston and bud it and completely mess up the system. But I need to get power into that there without messing up the rest of this redstone. So I could probably do it just by using a couple of comparators, a couple of repeaters like that. I need a button which I don't have and I can't get. Now obviously if somebody looks really closely they'll be able to see that button, and I could probably put in a system where you throw something into a hopper or you put a redstone torch on the wall or something like that. It could be really clever, but it's not going to stay like this, so there's not a lot of point me putting a load of work into it. So that's that. If I put a block if I put a block there, put a button on it, perfect. So now we've got ourselves a super secret hidden door that only we know about. So shh, don't say anything to Smurf. Perfect. So now we've done that, I'm going to grab my redstone and I'm going to whip up onto the top of the mountain and I'll show you where we're going to be putting the ice farm. See you in a second. So I've made my way up to the top of the mountain just by the woodland mansion. There you go, there's a little village over there, the windmill. So it's not a million miles away. We know ice forms up here because we've got a little ice farm behind me that Smurf made quite a while ago. It's very tiny, but it served a purpose. So I'm going to make it here. Now I'm going to be making it using repeaters rather than a hopper minecart. A lot of people make ice farms using a hopper minecart and detector rails to activate the pistons. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be using redstone repeaters, and the only reason being is because if spiders get underneath and onto the rails, they'll stop the minecart, and that can obviously cause you a problem. And also with the way that chunks unload, if a minecart runs into an unloaded chunk, it could stop. Doesn't always happen, but it potentially could stop. And then when you come back into the area again, your minecart stop working, your ice farms stop working. It's broken, and trying to get underneath to start a minecart is really difficult. So I'm going to be using redstone. I'm also going to make this 15 by 15, and I'll explain the reason why later. But there is a very good reason why I'm going to be doing that. But what I need to do now is I need to stop talking, don't I? Because daylight's fading. Daylight's fading fast. I need to dig out a 15 by 15 trench to put some pistons in. Let's start. Sorry, to put some stuff in. Oh, I'll tell you what it is in a minute. I can't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I want to put some of those in some stone blocks because I want to put some redstone on top of it. That's the only reason. Let's put my box down and everything. Put my boxes down, box down, box down. Grab some repeaters. I think I've got enough observers, but we'll soon find out, won't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15. I'm going to set all of these to 4 so that the ice has got the longest amount of time to form, because we don't want the pistons activating so quickly that they're flicking every couple of ticks or so. So we'll do that. I now need to put some observers on the top of that facing upwards. So I need to put down, shall I put down some temporary blocks? Let's put down a couple of blocks here to start with. Got my Silk Touch pick back again. Smurf has very kindly fixed that for me. I've now got it back. We now want some... Should put another one there. Put another one there as well. Like that. So we'll get the observers, and we'll have to crouch to do this. Otherwise, we'll just be activating the piston, the repeaters, and we want to put an observer facing upwards on top of all of these bad boys, like that. On top of these, we'll need a bit of dust. We'll need another block, and then the pistons are going to go here. Some of the pistons, anyway. I may as well take my note blocks while I'm at it. Wow, wowzers! Right, so these pistons want to be facing upwards. These are the ones where the water's going to be on top of, and when it melts, these pistons are going to be pushing it up. On the back of these blocks, we're going to need the note blocks. Like that. Is anybody going to sleep? On top of these note blocks, we'll need another observer. Now, in the past, I've done this slightly differently in the past, and I've had to use twice as many observers, but I've tweaked it a little bit, and now we only need 2 per cell rather than 3. Like that, and then another block on top of there. And then a piston there. Like that. Perfect. So now when that... you might be able to see it actually. When that activates, the repeater activates, the observer detects it changing. It puts a pulse into that that block there. Sorry, I'm rushing because it's getting dark. I really should sleep. Excellent. Right, I can do this now without having to panic. So the signal goes through that repeater, causing the observer to activate, putting a pulse into that block, which fires that piston. It also sets off that note block, which is detected by that observer block, which then puts a signal into that block, which fires that piston, which is absolutely brilliant. Now we can fill this side in. We don't need to do anything else just here. Excellent. So now I need to copy that down that side, which means I'm going to have to probably build up this mountain, which is going to be no biggie. This side and the other side. So we've got 4 sides that are going to be creating ice. So it's not just the one side that's creating ice. in this farm. It's all 4, and then eventually it'll get pushed into the middle, and we'll have a sheet of pistons facing downwards at the top, and they'll all fire down together, activated by a daylight sensor, pushing all of the ice down. So I'm going to have to dig out the entire center of this mountain, at least I don't know, 15 blocks. I think the push limit on a piston is 12 blocks, so if I go down 12 blocks, 15 blocks, that should be enough, and we can access this through the side of the mountain, which is fantastic. So that's what we've got so far. I've put all 4 sides in now, and I've still yet to put the water in it. There's no point putting the water in just yet. So just wanted to show you the progress before we put the roof onto the top of it. So if we run down there now, well, I mean, did you see that? Your little eyes poking up. Anyway, little things and all that kind of stuff. Right, where was I? Little boz-eyed sheep. You've got to love it. I've put an on-off switch in. Basically, turn that lever. It fires that out. Actually, that's off. So once that's off, the signal will stop when it gets to this bit of redstone there. When I turn it on, that's going to come back here, and then every time the signal gets around to that redstone duster, it's going to activate that observer, which is going to continue the line around a little bit further. And as I say, it just goes around. So if I flick it on now, just so you can see it working, it's very noisy, I apologise. You see the signal slowly goes around, and any water that's frozen in there now will get pushed up and then pushed out. And obviously when there's nothing, when the pistons aren't moving, then the ice has got a chance to form. And this will just keep working on and on and on. Now, as far as the roof is concerned, have I got any normal pistons? I have. As far as the roof is concerned, the roof is going to go at that level there. And it's going to be some pistons facing down. I can't believe I've run out of stone blocks again. I'm going through stone blocks like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be a piston facing down like that. So once the ice gets out to here, that piston's going to force it down, and it's going to keep forcing it down until it reaches its push limit, which I believe is 12. So it should be able to go down 13 blocks, because there'll be the 12 blocks that it can push, and then the one gap that's left once it's been pushed down. So you've got 13 blocks lower down. 13 blocks down there is going to be the bottom where we're going to be stood mining the ice. Now on top of here, and I can't believe it, don't have any. On top of here, we're going to have a blob of redstone dust, and there's going to be, all of this area is going to be filled up with 15 by 15 area of blocks of redstone dust, and that's the main reason, that's the only reason this can only be 15 by 15 wide. Okay, because redstone dust will only take a signal of 15 blocks before it runs out. So in the center there's going to be a daylight sensor and an observer block underneath it, and every time the daylight changes, as the sun goes across the sky, the strength of the sun, the strength of the light changes, which is detected by the observer block, which then puts a pulse through all of this redstone dust, but it will only reach out into the corners of a 15 by 15 area. Any bigger and it won't activate the dust, which is the reason why it's only 15 by 15. So my next job now is to cover this entire area with a 15 by 15 block of stone, and then 15 by 15 pistons underneath it. I really don't think I've got enough pistons to do that, so that might be a job for later on. But I'm going to do that, and then we need to slab it, and then I'm going to get Smurfy to start digging that out. Brilliant. So we've got, I've managed to craft myself enough normal pistons to go in the ceiling. They're the ones that are going to be pushing the ice straight down. And then on the roof, upon the roof where I can't get onto now because I put slabs up there. Upon the roof I've slabbed the outside of it, so nothing can spawn outside here. Put a few stairs on there. I'm going to stick a load of redstone on the top of here. I don't know whether I've got enough redstone for all of this. If I haven't, I'll just go back down and get some. Now we need to find the exact center. That one there, and we need to somehow get an observer block facing downwards above there, just there. Okay, so hopefully we can do that with a bit of crouching. That there, observer facing downwards like that. Excellent. Oh, OMG, Frills. Oh, don't have any. Oh, I can see there. Like that, and then daylight sensor on top of it, and then fill that in with dust. Now, every time you might hear everything go in a second, as soon as the light level changes, it'll start changing quicker. It changes quicker in the morning, and then it gets to about 5,000 ticks, and it slows down to about 8,000 ticks. Doesn't change as much. The light intensity doesn't change much during midday, and then coming up to evening, when the sun's over there, it starts to change again a little bit quicker. So you never know, we may well be able to see everything fire under here in a second. So that happens and everything gets pushed down. So now what I need to do is get rid of my stuff out of here. There's no point in filling this up and getting it working while we've got torches in here, otherwise it'll just flood. And this is also going to be a mob magnet to start with, because we don't have slabs on the floor. Do I have enough slabs to put on the floor? I might do, actually, just to get it working to start with. I'll get rid of these. I'll get rid of the torches. I'll put some slabs on the floor, and that way no mobs will spawn in here. Then we'll put some water in at the top and at least get it working just a little bit. It's not going to be massive. We'll have a doorway in here. That'll keep Smurf happy. He can come up here and do a little bit of mining. Everybody's a winner. So let me just do a little bit of work, and then we'll have one last look at it, and our part on this little project will be done. Okay, so that's all done. It's all spawn proof inside there. It's only going to push, how many blocks of ice is it going to push down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll give us a fair old chunk, if I'm being honest. Last job now is to stick in the water. I'm probably going to have to do this and then jump back out again, aren't I? Because I ain't going to be able to get out otherwise. Okay, perfect. So that's all the water in. You can tell you've got all the water in and it's not flowing because I can't hear it. If you can hear flowing water, one of them is not quite in right, and you'll have to go back and have a look for the one that's missing. That looks all okay. Again, mobs can't spawn on top of this, so that's fine. Mobs can't spawn on top of here, that's fine. We can't cover this, obviously, otherwise ice won't form down there. Let's break this. Oh, look at that. Holy moly. No wonder my ankles are shot to pieces. And then we'll turn it on. And we should start seeing ice get pushed into the middle. So all this has formed in the time it's taken me to just go around there filling that up with water. And hopefully we'll have some more behind the back of those, and you can see it push out once more, and then we'll call it a day. There you go. So the next time the light level outside changes now, that gets pushed down, and it allows the rest to be pushed in. Obviously when this piston reaches its push limit, can't push any further, that piston there will push it one block further over, and then it'll start pushing them down there, and eventually all the outside will get filled in, and it'll get gradually towards the centre until the last block that's filled up will be the one right in the middle. Anywho, job done. That should keep Smurfy happy. So before we call it a day for today, after building the ice farm, I promised I'd show you the... How can they eat grass through snow? You are such a clever sheep. I promised I'd show you the catacombs so far, the Patron Powers catacombs, Hall of Heroes kind of thing. So we'll just have a quick rundown and do that now. Because it's looking pretty darn amazing if I say so myself. Wow. That could have been a bit risky, couldn't it? But I knew what I was doing. I'm a professional. Not that professional I can't run down holes. Oh no, where's the wall gone? Oh dear. Oh, it must be a secret passage. Oh, come on, let's just press the button, Frills. Just press it and go down, stop being clever. Right, prepare yourself for this because I've said it a million times, I am loving this. In fact, I'm going to press F1 just so you can have a proper look at it. We've done the entrance now. We've made all of the 6 bays for the 6 longest serving patrons to stand in. I think it's looking amazing. Try to distress it a little bit at the top again. I like that little feature, a lot of you won't. A light up there. I've put a fence post there, a wall there with some lighting underneath it just to light up the middle. But because the hitboxes of walls is 1.5 blocks high, it means that I can walk over that without falling down the hole. So although it looks like there's a hole there, you won't fall down it. That's not going to bother me until I figure out what to do in the middle. At the moment I don't know what to do in the middle. So you've got the main area at the front as you walk in, and then you've got the rest of the areas running down the sides on both sides. And I think it is looking, it's the best thing I've ever built. Certainly the best thing I've ever built out of stone. I think this is amazing. I've added a little bit more texture to the sides. So you can see I've put some indents there, put some at the back as well. I'm just loving it. And I hope you guys think it's worth it. So with that, I think we'll call it a day for today, everybody. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to leave it a like. And if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. And don't forget to check out all of the other alphas. They are all fantastic. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.